Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This week's video is actually going to be an update to a video that I did back in 2023. And that video actually still gets quite a few views on YouTube, but I thought I would update it for 2025. And that video is regrets that people have moving to Casper. Obviously, it's been well over a year now since I did that video, so I thought I would do an updated version of regrets that people have moving to Casper in 2025. Without further ado, bring your chair over, grab some snacks, and let's talk about regrets that people might have in moving to Casper in 2025. Starting off with topic number 1, our low speed limits throughout town. So it seems like the default speed limit throughout Casper is 30 miles per hour. Now, there are some sections of town where the speed limit might be 40 or even 50 or 60 miles per hour. But for the most part, the default speed for Casper is 30 miles per hour. Now, if you are coming from California, like I did, that might be a challenge. I know that I have actually been pulled over twice since moving here to Casper. And they unfortunately were both due to speeding. Now, thankfully, the officers have given me grace both times. But I will say that we have a pretty heavy law enforcement presence throughout Casper, which is wonderful. But that being said, because of our low population, if you are speeding or breaking the law in any fashion, the likelihood, honestly, of you getting pulled over is very high. So be prepared. If you have a lead foot, like I do, this is going to be something that you're going to have to adapt and adjust to. So just keep that in mind, and that might be something that might keep you from making the move here if you like to go fast. Number 2. Our small town vibe. So Casper is a smaller town. It's not super small. We have around 60,000 residents or so, and the whole county has around 70,000 residents. So it's really not that small. However, Casper is extremely well connected. It is not uncommon for, let's say, let's see here. I'm going to think of an example. I wrote one down here. It's not uncommon for your banker's wife being your hairstylist, and your hairstylist brother is the cop that pulled you over last week. Yeah, like legitimate, that could happen here in Casper. That's how well connected we are. So if you don't like that well-connected vibe about Casper, then Casper may not be for you. Casper is really one of those towns where a lot of people do know what's going on. Now, are they in your personal business? Well, that depends on who you talk to and what you say, right? But for the most part, I would say that your personal issues can remain personal so long as you're not sharing it with people who are going to share it with others. But if you don't like, living in a place where you may run into people who know other people that you know, and those people also know people that you know, well, then Casper may be something that you might want to give second thoughts to.
I know a guy who knows a guy who knows another guy.
All right. Moving on. The sunshine. We get a lot of sunshine here, but that does not necessarily mean that we're warm. We actually get almost the same amount of sunshine days per year that Florida gets, believe it or not. But for like half of the year, we're not typically hitting above 50 degrees. So don't let that deceive you, because when you look out the window, it could be super bright and sunny. And because we're at a higher elevation too, the sun feels really intense. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be warm out. So keep that in mind. Don't let that deceive you. Number 4, housing prices. When you look at a state like Wyoming, we are the lowest populated state, but that does not mean that we are giving away our homes. Our homes are not dirt cheap. And in fact, homes have continued to appreciate in value here, as did most of the country, because people have been moving away from these larger cities to find a more quiet and rural way of living. And Wyoming has been a wonderful recipient of those transplants coming here, right? So because of that, it has raised housing prices. So you may regret moving to Casper if your thought is that you're going to get, say, 40 acres and a 3,000 square foot home for maybe $300,000. That is just not realistic here in this market. So, if you have a realistic expectation of what you can get for your dollars, then you'll be okay. But if you're trying to get a steal, the homes that are selling right now for a steal are selling at that price point for a reason. And it's usually because they are the ones that other people just aren't as interested in. And you can kind of draw your own conclusions as to why. So there you go. Number 5, dealing with snow. If you're moving to Casper, you got to know you're going to deal with snow. It is a way of living here. We get snow 6 to 7 months out of the year. And something that I think people maybe forget about with living with snow is it's not just having to deal with learning how to drive in the snow. It actually can affect your schedule. It can affect how clean your house will stay. Because if you've been walking out in the snow and you forget to take your shoes off when you walk inside, you're going to be bringing that snow inside and you're going to get dirty floors. Um, Also, I think that people forget too that you have to shovel the snow or hire somebody to do that for you. You have to shovel your walkways. And these are all things that take time and energy. And so, if you are not prepared for that and how snow might affect your lifestyle here, then you might regret it once you're actually living in it, right? So, keep that one in mind. Number 6, the car registration situation here. Don't ask me why. But our car registration here is not as affordable as you might think. Now, there are a lot of other things here that are extremely affordable, like our property taxes, our gas prices, our cost of living in general is extremely affordable here. Our car registration, not so much. I was actually trying to figure out what the calculation is for our car registration. And the formula involves multiplying the vehicle's factory price by a percentage that decreases as the vehicle ages. And there's also a flat fee that's added by the state on top of that calculation. So it is kind of odd because it's not you would think that it'd be more affordable here, right? It's just not. It's one of those things that you do end up paying a little bit more for. And I know that people kind of grumble a little bit about it because our neighbors to the north up in Montana, they actually have a permanent registration option for vehicles that qualify where you pay a one-time registration fee and that's it. And unfortunately, we just don't have that here. So that might be something that you regret. The cowboy culture. We got to talk about the cowboy culture. It's real. And it's real in a lot of good ways and in some that are not so good. So I love the rugged individualism and the work ethic and the resilience of the cowboy culture. I think that that is something that is noteworthy here. People here work extremely hard. However, sometimes that comes with people engaging in dangerous behaviors. It also can come with some mental health issues that might be overlooked. And the reason why I bring this up is because we do, unfortunately, here in Wyoming have one of the highest suicide rates. I think that we were the highest at one point, and I think maybe we got knocked down to the second highest. But regardless, it's a problem. And so I think sometimes that cowboy tough mentality can cause these mental health issues that people are struggling with to be overlooked, either because they are afraid to admit that they're dealing with them, um, or they're so deeply embedded that they don't even realize what's happening before they just have a break, right? So, again, the cowboy culture here, I think that there is amazing benefits to it. Again, our work ethic is just top notch. People here work extremely hard. People, though, also like to play really hard. And sometimes the underlying things that people are dealing with kind of just get swept under the rug until they hit a breaking point. And so that may or may not be something that can affect you living here in Casper. So I bring it to your attention. Number 8, limited flights. So in December, we actually lost out of our Casper airport or Natrona County airport. We lost our flight to and from Salt Lake City. And that was a big blow to our business and professional population here because we had a lot of people that would regularly fly back and forth from Casper to Salt Lake for work. We lost that flight due to a minimum revenue guarantee that between the county and the city. We weren't able to come to an agreement with the airline that was providing that flight, long story short. So what that has meant is that now if you need to go to Salt Lake, you're probably going to be driving, or you're going to have to be putting up with a layover in Denver now. So that might be an issue of concern for you depending on what you do for work, or even if you just have a ton of family out that way. So that might be something that might give you pause if that's important to you in considering moving to Casper. So keep that in mind. All right. And that concludes it. So just to recap, our top regrets in moving to Casper in 2025 is our low speed limits, our small town vibe. You get a lot of sunshine, but that doesn't mean it's warm. Our housing prices. We have dealing with snow. We have our car registration. We have the cowboy culture. And we also have our limited flights in and out of Casper from Salt Lake. So if that doesn't bother you, if that doesn't make you think that you will regret moving here, please don't hesitate to reach out. You know, it would be my honor to help make this move your best one yet. And with that, please take care, and I will see you in the next one.